right, so have everyone start off sitting on their mat in a comfortable position. And we'll begin today's practice with just a little bit of breathing. So no matter where you are, just sit down. If you want to sit on a pillow to give yourself a little bit of support, you can sit on your knees if that feels better. But no matter where you are, you're just going to sit and pause for a few breaths. And just let your eyes close. And even though it's early in the day, and most of us haven't really had too much of a day started yet, it's good just to take a few breaths to kind of make the separation between the day that you have going on and the beginning of your yoga practice. So just closing your eyes and inhaling and exhaling. And just kind of taking this time to take stock of your body and take stock of your mind. And then bring your attention into your breath and see how deep a breath goes when you inhale. Without pushing the air down or forcing the air out, what happens to the musculature in your chest, your tummy with the breath? And do you notice anything happen in your shoulders, the muscles in your neck when you breathe? And it's in bringing your attention to all of these little physical things, or something as ordinary as breathing, that you bring your mind into your body's time, which is always in the present. So bring a little bit more intention into your breath. So as you inhale, your spine gets a little bit taller. And then as you exhale, you tuck your belly button up into your spine and up towards your heart. So you begin to use your diaphragm with your breath. Just kind of notice how that changes the physicality of the breath. What happens to the muscles that you noticed before? And then linking movement with breath, we're going to inhale, reaching both hands up to the sky. And then exhale, slowly reaching your fingertips out to the sides so your hands find the floor, and then push out all the air at the bottom. So you're totally empty. Inhale, reaching both hands up to the sky. Exhale, reaching your hands out to the sides till your lungs are empty and fingers find the floor. And inhale, reaching both hands up. This time dropping one hand down to the side, doesn't matter which hand, and then reaching the top arm over your head towards the wall, whichever wall is over there. And then take your gaze under your biceps towards the ceiling so you can see what's going on up there. Inhale deeply and exhale completely. Squeezing from the obliques, coming back up to center. Both hands come up to the sky. Taking a deep breath. Then on the exhale, fold over in the other direction. Again, taking the gaze into your biceps towards the ceiling and rolling your shoulder blade over your spine so your heart gets to look up there. Squeezing from the obliques to come back up to center. Taking a breath, exhale, both hands come down to the sides. Inhale, reaching both hands up to the sky. Exhale to fold down into an easy forward fold. So just walking your hands out in front of you and letting your forehead drop down towards the floor. And then breathing deeply here, inhaling fully and exhaling completely. And just noticing where the air goes when there's no room for your belly to expand. Slowly walking both hands over to the right side, so your body drapes over your right leg and feel a stretch through your left side body. Taking a deep breath, long exhale, draping your torso over your right leg. Holding here for 2 breaths. Slowly walking both hands all the way over to the other side. So you can drape your body over your left thigh, taking a deep breath, long exhale. Letting your forehead drop down to the floor and breathing deep so you feel a stretch through your right side body, your right rib cage. And if your hips feel tight, know your hip tree. Walking both hands back towards the center one last time. Maybe walking your fingertips out a little bit further in front of you. Letting your forehead come down a little bit closer to the floor. And then using your hands to push you all the way back up. And we'll make your way onto your hands and knees. So with your fingertips spread wide, your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. You're going to inhale to look up, dropping your belly down to the floor, and then exhale, curving your chin to your belly button for cat and cow. So moving at your own breath, you don't have to follow my cues here. So long as you're inhaling to look up, dropping your belly down, and then exhaling, curving your spine up to the ceiling, scooping your tailbone underneath you. As you warm up your spine, your shoulders. For those of you lucky enough to have just woken up, it's a good way to kind of get at those little nicks and cricks and cranks and janks that might have happened while you were sleeping. So I'll take one or two more passes. We'll all find ourselves in a nice neutral spine. So raising your right arm up towards the ceiling, extending your right fingertips as high as you can, and rolling your right shoulder blade over your left. You're going to take in a deep breath, and then slide your right arm underneath your left arm to bring your right ear down to the floor, and letting your right shoulder rest on the mat. And using your left hand to kind of push your body a little bit so you can make the stretch a little bit deeper if you want to. And then inhaling fully and exhaling completely. We'll hold here for 3 long, slow, deep breaths. Then pushing off your left hand, raising your right arm back up towards the sky. Opening up your heart to the limitless possibilities that Wednesday has to offer. Taking a deep breath. And then exhale again, threading your right arm underneath your left arm, bringing your right ear down to the floor. And again, holding for 3 breaths here. And imagine for a second like you got a huge tail and you want to wag that tail back and forth. Like a corgi tail, like a little wiggle tail. Pushing off your left hand, raising your right arm back up towards the sky. And then bringing that right hand down to the floor, resettle. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So raising your left arm up to the sky, taking a deep breath, and then on the exhale, threading your left arm underneath your right, so your left ear can come down onto the mat. Let your body rest heavy there for a moment. Holding for 3 breaths. And using your right hand to kind of push gently to come to the stretch a little bit deeper, or provide support if it feels really tight. Pushing off your right hand, raising your left arm back up to the sky, opening up through the shoulder girdle. Taking a deep breath, and then on the exhale, threading that left arm underneath again. Bring your left ear down to the mat. Two more breaths here. Pushing off your right hand, raising your left arm back up to the sky, and coming back down onto all fours. Take a second to repedal your hands, maybe your knees. You're going to reach your right arm out in front of you, so your right biceps is in line with your right ear, and you're going to stare straight down at the floor, so you listen really carefully to the next instructions. We're going to push your left heel straight back behind you. So your body's really long, really straight. Taking a deep breath, and then as you exhale, connect your elbow to your knee under your body, making that connection. And then extend, reaching out really long in opposite directions. Once again, making that connection underneath you. And then inhale to extend. One more time to connect. One more time to extend. And then coming back down onto all fours. Resettle your knees, resettle your hands. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So raising your left arm straight out in front of you, so your left biceps is in line with your ear. Take the gaze down to the floor so your neck is neutral. Push your right heel straight back behind you. Take in a deep breath. And then on the exhale, connect elbow to knee under your body. Inhale to extend. Exhale to connect. Inhale to extend. One more time, making the connection. One more time, extending. And coming back down onto all fours. Bring your knees out to either side of the mat with your big toes together. We'll come all the way back into your child's pose. So dancing your fingertips out in front of you, letting your forehead come down towards the floor, and then gently tenting your hands and pushing from your fingertips so your bum goes down towards your heels. And if in the class at any point you feel like, oh, I'm tired, or this hurts, or this sucks, you can always come into a child's pose and take a time out. Pressing your fingertips down into the mat, curling under your toes, coming into your first downward dog of the class. So pedaling your heels, rolling your shoulders, letting the first downward dog be as organic as it can be, kind of listening to your body and listening to what feels sore or what feels tight. Maybe you want to look under your biceps so you can see the ceiling underneath you. You can smell your armpits. Oh, it smells so good. If you're like me. And then bending at the knees and creating a little walking motion with your feet. We're going to slowly walk your feet to your hands until we all find ourselves into an easy forward fold. If you happen to have a yoga block at home or a little prop, you can use that for support. We'll take in a deep breath and long exhale, just letting your head and your arms hang down for an easy forward fold. And rocking your butt side to side, as if you were going to clean a wall behind you and you had a sponge on your butt. You're just going to like wipe that wall behind you with your spongy butt. And then bending at the knees and curling one vertebrae at a time, all the way up to standing. Inhale, reaching both hands up over your head. Exhale, hands come down by your sides. Inhale, reaching both hands up, and you're going to grab onto a big invisible ball of joy that only you can see. And you squeeze onto that ball. And as you squeeze onto that ball, you draw your shoulder blades down towards your bum. Extending the ball towards one side of the room, reaching as far forward towards the side as you can. Taking the gaze under your biceps towards the ceiling. Taking a deep breath. On the exhale, squeeze from the obliques. Coming back up to center and folding over in the opposite direction. Again, looking underneath your biceps, see if you can see the ceiling. On the exhale, coming back up to center. Opening up your heart to a gentle back bend. And then exhale to fold down into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head so you're making your spine just as tall as can be. And then exhale, fold down a little bit deeper and walk yourself out into your plank. So fingertips are spread wide. You're on your toes. We'll do the first chaturanga with the variation, so lowering down the knees, bending at the elbows to lower down chest and chin all the way onto the floor, and then coming up into baby cobra. So baby cobra is strengthen the muscles in your lower back and press the tops of your feet into the floor. Drawing your elbows into your sides and then looking up. So your hands are there, but they're not really pushing. Like they could come off the mat, you'd still hold that position. And then pushing off your hands and knees all the way back into your child's pose. Taking a deep breath, stretching out through your lats. And then curling under your toes to come into your downward facing dog. So for this downward dog, we're going to hold it with a little bit more intention. So trying to push your heels down to the floor behind you and pushing the backs of your knees to the wall behind you. All the while, imagine that someone tied a big helium balloon around your waist, and it's pulling your hips up towards the ceiling. We'll hold here for 2 more long, slow, deep breaths. And then looking in between your hands, stepping forward with your right foot, followed by your left. Inhale, lengthen up through the crown of your head. Exhale, pull down a little bit deeper. And then inhale, floating gracefully, like a swan landing in a lake. All the way up to standing and grabbing onto that same big ball of joy, or if you're like me, grab onto the ceiling. Squeeze onto that ball and extend it towards one side of the room as far as you can, so you get that stretch through your lats and your obliques on your side. Taking a deep breath. On the exhale, squeezing back up to center and folding over in the other side. Squeezing back up to center, opening up your heart to hump day. And then exhale to fold down into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head, extending along through your spine. And then exhale, stepping your right foot back, followed by your left into your plank. Now you can do that first variation of chaturanga if you want to, or you can do full high to low push-up chaturanga. Keep your elbows tight to your sides. You can come into baby cobra from here, or pull yourself up to upward facing dog. So the tops of your feet are pressing into the mat, and it's like you're pulling your hips forward and your shoulder blades back. And then curl over your toes to come into your downward facing dog. And again, holding here, we're going to hold for a total of 5 breaths. So keeping your fingertips pressing into the mat, your head loose and relaxed. So feel the muscles in your shoulder girdle, your back, your legs start to warm up. 2 more breaths. And then looking in between your hands, stepping your left foot forwards, followed by your right. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head. Exhale, fold down a little bit deeper. And then inhale, coming all the way to standing, reaching both arms up to the sky. Again, grabbing onto that great big ball of happiness that's always floating around you, but you can't always see it. And you're going to squeeze onto that sucker and share it with someone over there. So reaching out like you're going to pass it to somebody, and oh, they don't want it because it's yours. Squeeze from the obliques to come back up to center. One more time, passing it over in the other direction, sharing your happiness with the other side of the world. But you still got yours. Come back up to center. Last gentle back bend, then exhale to fold down into your easy forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head. Exhale, stepping your left foot back, followed by your right. And whichever form of chaturanga you prefer, high to low push-up or knees, chest, chin. Coming up into baby cobra or upward facing dog. And then curling over your toes into downward dog. Cool. So from here, we're going to press your toes into the mat. And squeeze those little piggies down in there. Putting all the weight to your left foot, we're going to raise your right heel as high up to the ceiling as you can behind you, and then open up at the hips to drop your right heel down towards your bum. Taking the gaze forwards, we're going to step your right foot in between your hands for a low lunge, and pause there. Giving a little rock front and back to open up your left hip flexor. So pushing your left heel straight back out behind you. Taking the gaze over the right shoulder so you can see the world behind you. Take the gaze over the left shoulder. Coast is clear. So that gives us permission to come into Warrior One. So we're going to drop your back heel back down to the mat at about a 45-degree angle. Lengthen out through your spine and float up, raising both hands up to the sky. So with your front knee bent and your hips are more or less square towards the front of the mat, you're going to inhale, reaching your fingers up to the sky, and then exhale, driving that right knee forwards. All the while, pushing the outside edge of your back foot into the mat. Or if you're not using a mat, from the floor. But either way, you're putting so much force that you're trying to like rip the mat in half with your legs. But try not to, because mats are expensive. So holding here for 2 more breaths. Inhaling, reaching your hands up. Exhale, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. And then transitioning into your warrior 2. So adjusting your stance a little bit so the heel of your front foot is in line with the arch of your back foot. Reaching both hands out in either direction, and then driving your right knee forwards. As you're reaching both hands out, you're extending so far like you could touch both sides of the room, and taking the gaze over the ring finger of your right hand. We'll hold here for 3 more breaths. And if that front quad starts getting tired, just sink into it a little bit deeper. Makes it harder. Dropping your back hand down to your back thigh, reaching your front hand over your head towards the back of the room behind you. And this back hand can provide support, or you can drape your back hand across your lower back. As you take the gaze up to the ceiling and open up your breath to extend your right rib cage. On an exhale, transition, bring your right elbow to your right knee, and then reaching your left arm out in front of you, towards the front of the room, and then rolling your left shoulder blade over the right, so your heart gets to look up towards the ceiling. Two more breaths here. Cool. And then keeping that front knee bent, you find that golden orb of happiness is still floating around you. So you reach your bottom arm underneath and grab onto it. Hold onto that sucker, extend it up towards the ceiling and towards the back of the room. As far as you can. Reach it towards the front of the room. Like you want to pass it to someone who just is just out of reach, and then you bring it back up to the back of the room. And then cartwheel both hands down, either side of your front foot. Walk yourself out into your plank, and take whichever form of chaturanga you prefer. Either a push-up or knees, chest, chin, baby cobra, or upward facing dog. And then curl over your toes into your downward dog. Pausing for a moment here, just pedaling at your heels. And seeing if you can notice the change from one leg to the other after doing that warrior sequence. Raising your left heel all the way up behind you, and then opening up at the hips, drop your left heel down towards the crown of your head. And then stepping your left foot through in between your hands for a low lunge. Stretching out your right hip flexor, giving a little rock front and back. Take the gaze over one shoulder, see how that changes the stretch through your hips. Gaze over the other shoulder. It looks good. And then dropping your back heel down to the mat at about a 45-degree angle. We're going to float up into Warrior 1. So again, trying to square off your hips towards the front of the mat, pushing the outside edge of your back foot into the floor, and then driving your left knee forwards to come into the Warrior. Inhale, reaching both hands up to the sky. Exhale, sink your shoulders down away from your ears. We hold here for about 5 breaths. Opening up into your Warrior 2. Adjusting your feet so the heel of your front foot is in line with the arch of your back foot. Reaching both hands out in either direction, and then driving your left knee forwards. So as you inhale, your spine gets really tall, and then as you exhale, you extend your fingertips out in either direction. 2 more breaths here. Then dropping your back hand to your back thigh. Reaching the left arm over your head out behind you. So this right hand again can either support your body on your thigh, you can drape your hand across your lower back, extend your left fingertips towards the world behind you. Try and take the gaze up towards the ceiling. Then on the exhale, bring your left elbow to your left knee, reaching your right arm out over your head in front of you, and rolling your right shoulder blade over the left so your heart gets to look up towards the ceiling. Oh, and then all of a sudden you see that gold orb of happiness floating around you again. So you're going to reach out and grab onto it. Squeeze it with your hands and bring it up towards the ceiling behind you. Extend it in front of you as far as you can. One more time, bringing both hands up and back behind you. And then cartwheeling both hands down, either side of your front foot. Walk yourself back into your plank, and whichever form of chaturanga you prefer. Inhale into your upward dog, and then exhale into your downward dog. Again, pedaling at your feet and just kind of noticing the change of what happens from one side to the other. Now your legs are balanced, you're feeling pretty good. From here, we're going to raise your right foot up behind you, and then float your right knee to your right elbow, hovering above the ground for a moment, making that connection. Bring your right foot way back up behind you. Float your right knee to your left elbow, crossing under your midline. Bring it straight back up behind you. Bring your knee to your nose. Try and actually give your knee like a real physical kiss. Send it straight back up behind you. I don't know how you kiss, but that's how I kiss. Sometimes. And then from here, we're going to bring your right foot into pigeon pose. So bring your right knee behind your right wrist, right ankle, more or less behind your left wrist, and then wiggle your left foot back so it's more or less center on the mat. If you have a good amount of space underneath your butt on the floor, you can put a pillow or a block if you have one underneath it. Inhale, lengthen out through your spine, and then exhale, walking yourself down to let your forehead rest on either your hands or a block or a pillow, whatever you kind of need. Or if you're really getting into it, let your hands, forehead rest on the floor. And we'll hold here for like 8 long, slow, deep breaths. And think about the exhaling breath. So with each exhaling breath, just try and let your body settle down into the pose a little bit more. With each exhaling breath, try and observe the muscles that are providing resistance, and let them know that it's okay to relax. 2 more breaths. And then very slowly, we're going to walk ourselves back up, curling under your back toes, planting your hands down into the floor. We're going to make our way all the way back into your downward facing dog. Taking your time to get there, pedaling at your heels, just kind of feeling the difference from one side to the other after doing the pigeon. And then same thing on the other side. So raising your left heel all the way up behind you, floating your left knee to your left elbow, making that connection. Send it straight back up behind you. Bring your left knee to your right elbow, crossing under your midline, so you can make that connection. Send it straight back up behind you. Bring your knee to your nose. Try and give it a big old kiss. Thank you, knee. Send it straight back up behind you. And then folding your left leg through into pigeon pose on the other side. So left knee is kind of behind your left wrist. Left ankle is kind of behind your right wrist. And then wiggling your right foot back. So it's more or less center on the mat. Putting any props you need underneath your left bum cheek if you find it's floating really high off the floor or it feels really uncomfortable. Inhale, lengthen out through your spine. And then exhale, walking yourself down until you can let your forehead rest on either the floor or your hands or a block or something. And just breathing deeply and exhaling completely. And with each big exhale, you're just sending that message to your body that everything is okay. And you can just relax in this pose a little bit longer. We'll hold here for 3 more breaths. And whenever you're ready, slowly walk yourself back up. Oh, shake out your head. Look around. And then roll over onto your left bum cheek and bring your right foot out in front of you. You're going to scoot yourself towards the front edge of your mat. Moving the muscle, the butt muscles out of the way until you can find those sits bones. And kind of like rub your butt into the floor, which in a public studio space always kind of makes people feel a little weird, but you're at home, so get into it. You can really rub it around. And then pushing your heels away from you, so the backs of your knees are going down into the floor. Your back is really straight. Inhale, reaching both hands up over your head, and then exhale to fold to birdcage your feet, and let your forehead drop down towards your knees. If birdcaging your feet is just not an option, just grab onto wherever you grab onto. It's under your calves or under your knees, and just lengthen out through your spine, and let your heart drop down towards your legs, and let your forehead drop down towards your legs. And everyone feels a stretch in different places. Some people feel it more in their lower back. Some people feel it in their upper back, hips, hamstrings. Wherever you're feeling it, breathe deep into that spot. See if you can breathe so deep that you feel the stretch change with your inhaling breath. And then on the exhale, just letting your body collapse into the pose a little bit deeper. We'll hold here for 2 more long, slow, deep breaths. And then reaching out past your toes or knees, wherever you are, floating all the way back up. And then exhale, hands down by your sides. We're going to bend your knees and bring your soles of your feet together. Kind of walk your bum towards your heels. You can get as close in there as you can. Flap those beautiful butterfly wings. Rock them side to side, open up that hip complex. Opening up the soles of your feet, massaging into the arches of your feet, pushing into your heels. Wiggle your toes. It's okay to talk to your feet. I do it sometimes. So much. Thank you for getting me around all the time. I know I don't talk to you enough. You probably get very lonely down there, but I appreciate you. Clasping your toes tight with your hands. You're going to inhale, lengthen out through your spine. And then exhale, drawing your elbows out to the sides and pulling your forehead down towards those little piggies. Inhale deeply and exhale completely. And just kind of notice where the breath goes when you're all curled up and folded forwards and there's no room for anything to go down. The breath goes somewhere. Then leading with the heart, float all the way back up. You're going to bring your knees together. And then scoop your hands underneath your knees. Drawing your shoulder blades back together, we're going to rock on your bum so that your legs can float up into the sky. And maintain that length through your spine. Imagine someone has a string tied to your heart. They're like pulling your heart up towards the ceiling. We're going to straighten out your legs and then release your hands starting on either side of your knees. And this is called boat pose. So we hold this for the next 15 minutes until class is over. Okay, that'd be like super boring. Not to mention fairly difficult. And there's only 10 minutes left. So inhale, reaching both hands up over your head. And then exhale to float down onto your back. So you're just laying down. From here, we're going to open up your arms and legs in the shape of a great big beautiful star. Taking a deep breath, and then on the exhale, float back up into your boat. So you try and make it one strong movement to come up, keeping your legs as straight as can be and feet up high. If your legs start to feel heavy, just remind them that they're not. Reaching both hands up over your head, slowly floating back down onto the mat. And then opening up your arms and legs in the shape of a star. One last time, we're going to come up into boat. So taking in a deep breath, and then long exhale to float up into the last boat. Two more breaths. Inhale, reaching both hands up over your head. Exhale, floating back down onto the floor. Oh, well done. So bring your hands down by your sides. We're going to bend at your knees until you can find your heels with your fingertips. Change the orientation a little bit so you're not sticking up like that for this whole next section. All right, so you're finding your heels with your fingertips, and with your feet in line with your hips and knees in line with your hips. I'm going to push off the floor, raise your hips as high up towards the ceiling as you can. And if you have a block, you want to put a little block underneath your sacrum, your lower back here, you can just kind of relax. A little bit of sacral release. Or if you want to interlace your fingers, you're going to walk your elbows and your triceps towards each other. So you stack your body up on your arms. So your knuckles are on the floor, or pinkies are on the floor. Elbows and triceps are on the floor. And your head is on the floor. And feet. If this starts feeling difficult, your hips start to sag down towards the ground, squeeze from the butt and hamstring, keep it up just a little bit higher. If you're relaxing for the sacral release, you can just keep on relaxing in that position. We'll hold here for 2 more breaths. And slowly releasing your arms, moving a block if you have one, until we come all the way down onto your back. And then hugging both knees into your chest. I'm going to give a little rock side to side. You're drawing a circle on the floor. Switching directions of the circle. And for those of you at home with little kids, or any parents or grandparents out there, or anyone with a niece or a nephew, or if you were a baby once yourself, we're going to come into happy baby. So grabbing out to the outside edges of your feet and pulling your knees down to either side, you kind of roll side to side. And this is a really good time to do this at home alone because you can roll around and get as weird as you want. If you've ever seen a happy baby rolling around on the ground, they tend to do a lot of funky stuff. I've seen a baby get from one side of the room all the way to the other on its back. So whatever kind of free movement you want to do right now is kind of up to you. If you just want to hang out and go real gentle, then that's what your body needs, and that's beautiful. So doing whatever little funky movements you need to do. Open up those hips. And then bringing both knees back in together. Give yourself a nice little hug. Straighten out your right leg along the floor. With your right hand, we're going to pull your left knee across your body. And reach your left arm out to the side for a spinal twist. So the right hand is holding your leg in position, but it's not really pushing it down to the floor. The goal here is taking a deep breath with a long exhale. Just let your body soften into the mat. As you breathe, you can feel the discs in between your vertebrae stretching and hydrating. And all the muscles along your spine kind of relaxing. Two more breaths here. Whenever you're ready, you're going to roll onto your back again, hugging both knees into your chest. Give a little rock side to side. And then switching sides. Extending out your left leg along the floor, with your left hand pulling your right knee across your body, reaching your right arm out to the side. And then taking in a few breaths. Big exhales and big inhales and long exhales, just letting your body relax into the floor. So you're not really pushing or pulling the muscles in any one direction. You're just kind of holding your body in position and then using the breath to tell your muscles to relax. Holding for 2 more breaths. Whenever you're ready, slowly making your way onto your back again. Hugging both knees into your chest. One last little rock. And then tucking your forehead up into your knees, making your body like a little bitty C. And then straightening out your arms and legs for your Shavasana pose. Just letting your hands straight down by the sides and letting your feet drop out open. We're going to take the next few breaths just to rest in stillness and silence, as you feel the full effects of your yoga practice. Slowly wiggling your fingers and your toes. Bring movement back into your body. At your own pace, draw your knees into your chest. Roll over onto your side. And then use the support of the floor to push yourself up to a comfortable sitting position. Just taking a moment with your eyes closed, finding yourself how you started the practice today. And just taking a few breaths and seeing if you can observe any changes in the quality of your breath or the depth of your breathing, or the state of your mind. And then taking a moment to send out a silent message of love and peace and healing to everybody, everywhere. Inhale, reaching both hands up over your head. Exhale, hands into a prayer in front of your heart. We'll close with a heartfelt Namaste. Thank you so much for doing yoga with me today. Hope everyone stays safe, stays healthy,